The Arizona Diamondbacks are a squad that may be apprehensive to spend money after the abomination of a signing last year in Jordan Montgomery, while not mentioning already having a cheap-ass owner. But they were ravaged by crucial injuries, with the Ketel Marte and Zach Allen last year both missing significant time, and they still missed the playoffs by a simple tiebreaker. Go out and sign Christian Walker back and make another run at the World Series.
Nimmo would be next. It's 2-2 on Alonso. Swing and a miss.
Now the Kansas City Royals have an opportunity here to continue their rapid ascension after making the playoffs a year after they lost 106 games. Their clear deficiency is the offense. Now Sal Perez and Bobby Witt Jr. Go out and sign Teoscar Hernandez and insert a real threat with championship pedigree, and they can compete for that division.
Two-run single, Nick Lofton. It's a Royals hit parade in the bottom of the first.
The Minnesota Twins are the classic case of a squad on the precipice of a rebuild, meaning a smaller market team that's been knocking on the door of winning the pennant for years that finally fall flat and completely, just flatly miss out on the playoffs. Now with that said, I think they go bargain bin chopping and sign Brandon Drury. Now the Baltimore Orioles disappointed their fan base during the trade deadline last year, not going all in on arm in a wide open American League as they settled for some guy named Trevor Rogers. I don't think they make that same mistake again as they replace Corbin Burns with Max Fried.
Henderson continues the Orioles glove show.
If any team has ever needed to make a bigger free agency splash in recent memory than the Boston Red Sox, let me know, because I can't think of one. After trading Mookie Betts, letting Xander Bogaerts walk, not even pursuing Ohtani or Judge, I think they go out and rectify those mistakes and cement themselves as once again a big market team as they sign Blake Snell.
Off the wall. Here comes the run. Here comes O'Neill. He will score. Raffy delivers.
Now along that same logic, but to a bit of a lesser degree, are the San Francisco Giants. Now unlike the Red Sox, they have tried incessantly, tirelessly to land a big fish despite not landing one. And I think their dry spell ends here with a splash that time around as they pry Corbin Burns from the Orioles.
And this is rolled and got him.
San Diego Padres and AJ Preller are objectively one of the most aggressive franchises in the game, and they'll continue that if they want to compete in their own division with the Dodgers and maximize Manny Machado's prime, and I think they'll do just that by prying away Rocky Buehler from their own division rivals on a one-year prove-it deal after his un-Walker-like year despite him getting the final out of the World Series as they look to dethrone the champs.
Hope you got the right sound system on your TV to appreciate how loud this is.
And a swing and a miss. Got him with the changeup.
The Tampa Bay Rays will sign Aroldis Chapman because why not? Go get him, guys. Now coming off being one of the Final Four teams and having their manager bring home the Manager of the Year award and Stephen Vogt, the Guardians had one hell of a year. However, I think it was a bit of a fluke in a depleted American League, and they're already known as notoriously cheap. Combine those two variables and it shoots out a signing of Harrison Bader to man center field.
No time like the present. Swung on and hammered. High, deep
Present under the tree.
I'm not sure how much money the Phillies have to spend after all the signings they've made recently with Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, and Zach Wheeler. If they want to compete in that division with the Mets and the Braves, especially if the Mets go out and sign Juan Soto, they don't necessarily got to sign a big-time free agent like Corbin Burns, but they got to do a modicum of something, as I see they'll sign Willie Adames to play third base after they trade Alec Bohm.
Bryce Harper, the first home run across the pond for Philadelphia.
The Miami Marlins with a healthy rotation as they get Sandy Alcantara, the former Cy Young Award winner, and Jesus Luzardo back in the fold, are closer to competing than some may surmise. But they do still obviously need an influx of talent, specifically in the lineup. And I think Willie Adames would be a perfect fit, but there's no reason to think that they would spend that type of money. So I think they sign the next available shortstop in Han-Sung Kim.
Over the wall, Jake Berger has done it again.
Now with squad teetering on what are we even fucking doing are the Chicago Cubs. They haven't acted like a big market team in a decade since the signing of John Lester, but they also haven't been rebuilding either after signing Cody Bellinger and trading for Isaac Paredes. They need a major shakeup in my opinion, but I anticipate they'll make a small move like signing reliever Paul Sewald.
Just missed in his first at bat.
High fly ball left field. Going back is Nevin near the wall and gone!
As I mentioned in the video prior, the Reds are way closer to competing than some may think, especially in the division where it can be had. They just need an arm and a bat for me, and Josh Bell would be a perfect sneaky add to that lineup to supplement Ellie De La Cruz, Spencer Steer, and a healthy Matt McLean. He would add much needed thump to a lineup bereft of it. Alright, the team you all been waiting for. Well, maybe not all of you, but some. The New York Yankees. They were all in last year and made a valiant run at the championship. And although I think they played a bit over their skis because of the dearth of good quality teams, specifically in the American League, but that said, they're still the big bad New York Yankees, with undoubtedly a good squad with the reigning MVP, and will obviously make a ton of moves to try and get their elusive 20th chip. And despite their valiant run by snatching Juan Soto back, I think they'll whiff on him and sign Alex Bregman to mitigate the loss, as he replaces Gleyber Torres while they shift Jazz Chisholm back to second base.
Slice down the left field line, could be trouble. It's a fair ball, right on the chalk. Torres around second, on his way to third. Soto digging for second. And the Yanks have 2 on with nobody out.
Now the Atlanta Braves will be a fun team to follow after they got waxed by San Diego in the first round, as they clearly aren't close to winning a World Series. But they also don't have many holes to fill, as they are locked in at essentially every spot once they get a healthy besides catcher. And I suspect they'll fill said catcher with good old Gary Sanchez as they pair him with Sean Murphy behind the dish.
Center field, Merrill back, wall gone. Jorge Soler straight away center field.
A tragedy occurred in Seattle as it pertains to sports last year, as they missed the playoffs despite possessing the best rotation and all the ball. They need to remedy and rectify that ASAP so they don't waste the flamethrowers on their pre-arb deals like Bryce Miller. And while I could go with any position to fill as they're in need of multiple bats, I think Pete Alonso and the thump he could provide would be a seamless match for the Mariners. His replacement of the slap-hitting older Justin Turner at first base would be quite ideal, and all of a sudden they would be a scary, scary outfit.
And Raley gets in there with a steal. His slide into second slowed him down so much I almost thought he was going to Willie Mays Hayes that.
And before we trudge further with the last half of these squads, if you're enjoying the video, please do me a favor and consider subscribing. I appreciate y'all. The team somewhat adjacent to the Mariners are another interesting squad to watch, as Bo Bichette and Vlad both enter their walk years. Now they could go all in or tear it down completely, and I suspect they'll do the latter by trading at least one of them. And if they do so, obviously they won't be in on Juan Soto or any big thumpers for that matter, and I think they'll sign Garrett Hampson to be their utility guy in a medium move that we'll all forget about.
Comes Vlad, he's 0 for 1 today. Here's the 1-2, and it is swung on and missed. He got him.
The Los Angeles Angels are obviously in a precarious position, as they still possess a top 10 player in Mike Trout when healthy, but nothing else around him. Assuming they keep him and try to compete while he's still in the tail end of his prime, I think they'll supplement the young talent they have with Zach Neto and Logan O'Hoppe in a pretty seismic move as they land 40-homer bat Anthony Santander, as they hope that Anthony they sign for the second time will provide different results.
Got it. Patrick Sandoval strikes out this side.
That ball was obliterated.
Mike Trout has homered for the second straight day.
The Chicago White Sox signed Ben Camel, and we never hear from them again. All signs are pointing towards the Dodgers signing back Teoscar Hernandez, and why not? He fits like a glove, and he seemed to adore it there, as he and Shohei Ohtani look like best friends. Their quest for back-to-back titles would look a whole lot less daunting with him back in the fold, and I suspect that he will be
Hernandez barking down the first baseline. A grand slam, and the Dodgers are right back in it.
Teoscar Hernandez, the lightning strike the Dodgers needed.
Now, speaking of Juan Soto, once again the tea leaves are all falling towards the owner who has the most money. More money than God, for that matter. And I think they'll land him as the Mets finally cement themselves as true World Series contenders for the first time since the mid-1980s. And boy oh boy, would that create some juice in New York, huh? Alex Verdugo had a head-scratching year with the Yankees last year, as the doubles machine couldn't produce for shit for some reason, as I don't think the reason was the pressure for playing in New York, as his personality would say otherwise. Sneaky bounce back candidate for me, and I like him in Texas as they replace Robbie Grossman. Now, predicated on the fact that St. Louis does not trade Nolan Arenado and tear it down completely, I think they'll look to replace Paul Goldschmidt at a way cheaper rate at first base with the signing of Connor Joe from their division rivals, as they look to continue to try and compete.
Left center, Contreras rounding third. He'll come in to score as the ball rolls all the way to the wall. Here comes Goldie. It's 2-0 Cardinals.
I'm being told the Colorado Rockies are still in Major League Baseball. That's enough Rockies talk here. The Pirates are in the come, man, they just are. And harking back to the Rockies, on a more serious note, if they didn't have such a notoriously cheap bastard as an owner, you could make a case that they could win the division with a couple sly moves, with the rotation they possess, of course led by Paul Skeens. Now, as I don't think they'll sign Juan Soto, obviously, I think they could stretch the payroll a bit, modicumly, as they sign Tyler O'Neill, and he becomes a Pirate to supplement O'Neill Cruz. And no, I did not do that just because they are both O'Neills.
100. He has faced 4 Cubs. He has struck out each of them.
Detroit is coming off their best season in a decade, have money to spend, the Cy Young, and an elite manager. That could all portend great things in the future for this young Tigers squad, but they need to make additions starting this offseason, and they will do that, in my mind, as they pry Jack Flaherty back in Motown to get their 1-2 punch back to see if they cannot go further this time in October. Houston Astros are in a precarious spot as well, because they are clearly on the back end, damn near the end itself as it pertains to their competitive window. So you don't want to spend wildly and foolishly. However, you still have a Cy Young candidate in Framber Valdez, an MVP candidate in Yordan Alvarez, and another top 10 to 15 player in Kyle Tucker, so you can't completely strip it down just yet. But with that said, I see them straddling the line and signing a good but not great player in Tanner Scott. Now, Rob Manfred just called me and reminded me that the A's are still in the league. However, I don't believe him. Now, moving on to a team that could be on the cusp of competing, as their swath of players that they got in the Juan Soto deal led by CJ Abrams continues to blossom. And I see them adding to that core with the relief arm and Jeff Hoffman. The Brewers are a pitching factory in the Midwest, as every arm they seem to touch turns to gold, and I see them attempting to recapture that magic as they sign former Cy Young Award winner Shane Bieber.
The air to left. It is shallow. Pham tagging. Here's the throw to the plate. And he's out.
Alright. As we hit all 30 teams, free agent move, that'll do it for me. And if you enjoyed the video, please do me a favor, consider subscribing. I appreciate y'all. Peace out.